Hi there. Okay, so what you're about to see is a vlog of my week heading to Ōtautahi, Christchurch, for the 2025 Sweet Adeline's New Zealand National Convention. So it's the national competition for the barbershop chorus that I sing in, and we travel halfway down the country this year to compete in the contest, and that's what you're about to see. Kia ora, nau mai haere mai, hello and welcome. I'm Kate. With all my content, I try to share what life is like for a takatapui with multiple dynamic disabilities and foster safe and supportive communities for anyone who relates or who is learning about these ways of life. On this channel, I share informative as well as candid videos about my life, my disabilities, and my communities. I hope you'll stick around, maybe hit the like button, maybe even subscribe. Let's get into it. Good morning. Let's do this. I am just having some breakfast, muesli and yogurt. I don't usually eat breakfast, but today's a big day. This week is the New Zealand National Convention / competition, and my Nini and I, who both sing in the chorus, we're flying out today a day early so that I will have time to rest and recharge before the actual action starts and won't be too exhausted from traveling. I mean, in saying that, I didn't get to bed last night until 1 o'clock in the morning because I was finishing my packing, and it's now 5:30 a.m. to be ready on time, so I'm going to be pretty tired by this afternoon, and I'm going to be pretty tired tomorrow even when things kick off, but what can you do? Your best, and you can't do anything more than that. Anyway, so we're flying out this morning in a few hours time, so I'm just getting ready, trying to set myself up to have a good time today and for the rest of the week. Very excited. This has become a staple highlight of each year since I've been in the school. Getting to travel just a little bit and have this experience each year is really cool, and I won't be able to do it if it weren't for how much my Nini supports me physically and financially, because it's not cheap to be in this chorus and travel like this. So very, very lucky and do not take it for granted. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm gonna bring you along so that you can get a bit of a glimpse for what an event like this entails for someone with disabilities like mine, and showcase for you actually how much support it takes to make these things happen. Yeah, I'm gonna finish my breakfast and make sure I'm ready on time to be picked up, and I'll see you around. Alright, face is on and I'm dressed. Sparkle, sparkle. Dressed, face on, I'm packed, everything is ready to go, and that is with half an hour to spare. Well, we have made it to Christchurch. It is cold and wet and pretty miserable, and we're waiting for the taxi. Booked the taxi yesterday. Apparently the taxi is on its way, but the call sounded a little fishy. We'll see what happens there. Yo, we made it. Filming the victorious moment that we actually safely arrive in the hotel room. What a freaking day. Terrible freaking taxi company. Absolutely terrible. I'm gonna make a complaint. It just feels stupendous to be somewhere dry and warm and settle and regroup for the next thing. The next thing will be some food. Neither of us have like barely eaten anything since breakfast, and it's now 3:30 in the afternoon. But we did it. We made it. And the bus was fantastic. Big up to the metro services here at Ōtautahi Christchurch. Tino pai. Very good. So much better than the taxi. Lesson learned, we will catch the bus when it's time to go back to the airport on Monday. But we made it, and now it's time to recover. Because that was a whole thing. So we are just going down to dinner. Nothing crazy. There's some. Hello. Dinner has been had. We just came downstairs to the in-house cafe, and I feel so much better than I did. There were some very stressful moments in today, but it's still good. It's still good.
I think we can surmise by the way that she left me, do no clue. Detailing a bathroom.
Precipitate does not exist.
Good morning. It is Thursday, and what is the time? 10 a.m. Had a really good sleep. It is coffee and bed time. Just making a plan for the day, having a slow start, because that's the whole point of being here a day earlier than everybody else. And being here a day earlier than everybody else is paying off in more ways than one this year, because the weather outside is atrocious, particularly over the Cook Strait sort of area, and flights are being cancelled, so the rest of the North Island folk who are making their way down to Christchurch today are running into issues. But we're very lucky we get to have a relaxed, slow, steady morning in a comfortable hotel room. So I suppose you could call that one of the rare benefits of disability. They do show up sometimes. Alright, ready for the day to brave all this? Let's do this.
Oh, bloody hell. It is so wet and freezing out there. I'm literally dripping from my rain deck. This is not ideal weather. My fingers, I've still never managed to find gloves that work efficiently with the push rims when it's so wet like this. So the only thing I found that actually holds grip when it's wet is my skin. So I can never wear anything that completely covers my hands, or I end up not being able to control my chair. And my fingers feel like sticks of ice. They're like stinging and aching and not responding to my brain. Reminds me of playing netball in Wellington winters as a child, which I always hated. So we went and we had some food and some coffee, and that was great. But yeah, walking even just a couple of blocks to get to the pharmacy and pick up, because I got to packing the last of my things the night before we got on the plane and realised that I was out of one of my medications, and I could have picked it up from the pharmacy earlier that day, but I thought I had enough of it and hadn't collected it, so I had to get an urgent script sent down there overnight. So we had to go down a few blocks and we got some basic food stuff to bridge gaps with snacks from a dairy nearby, and even that amount of walking to just come back frozen and drenched. Not a great time. But when we got back, there was more members of our chorus checking in to the hotel. So our fears about being the only ones to make it here have been abated, which is very good. I'm very glad to be back in this warm, dry, quiet hotel room. Hopefully all of this dries a lot more adequately while we spend the afternoon here, because of course we have to go out again and go down those same 2 blocks to get to the venue, the town hall. It seems though that it's just my pant legs that are soaked at the bottom, and my shoes. I should take my shoes off. We're not the only ones!
Yeah, that's so stupid.
I saw Carla and Jules and Viv.
Like this just all inside of the room.
Alright, so wet feet on the heat pad.
on the bed for a bit. Everything's drying on the heated towel rail. What an adventure. I still haven't explained what happened with the taxi yesterday, and I said that I would, so I've got some time now where I can do that. So flying yesterday. Yesterday was Wednesday, and on Tuesday afternoon, I had called up Blue Star taxis. The taxi was booked for 12 p.m, and I was comfortably assured that there would be no issues. There might be a slight delay because they have very few total mobility vans in their fleet, but I thought, yep, that's pretty standard for New Zealand. I have since been assured by several Christchurch residents who are also disabled, a bunch of you, that Blue Star Taxis has a reputation for being useless, especially with their mobility taxis, that in fact pretty much all the taxi companies in Christchurch are useless, and even regular taxis get terrible delays and terrible service, and that once again it's even worse for mobility taxis. I did not know this. I know this now, but I didn't know this on Tuesday. We were waiting at the taxi stand by 11:56 a.m. 5 minutes passed, no taxi. 10 minutes passed, no taxi. So we called and they said, oh, he's on his way, just wait another 5 minutes. 5 minutes passed and we rang again, still no taxi. So we rang them up again and said, is he on his way? She said, yes, he's on his way. But yes, you can wait inside and we'll get him to call you when he arrives. After a further 20 minutes, we call the taxi company again. Hi, still no taxi. Oh, okay, well, let me put you on hold while I try and contact the driver. On hold for 5 minutes. She comes back to me and says, we can't contact the driver, but the GPS says he's on his way to you. So give it another 10 minutes and call us back if he still hasn't arrived. So at this point, we've been waiting for almost an hour. 10 minutes passes, still no taxi. By now I'm getting a bit irritated by this. This is beyond the realm of what usually gets thrown up as an issue with mobility taxis in other parts of the country. She puts me through to the supervisor and he says, okay, well, I still can't contact the driver and I'm not supposed to badmouth my staff, but this is the driver mucking around. That's what's causing this problem. To a degree, this is ordinary for mobility taxis because there simply aren't enough of them servicing huge areas of New Zealand cities. You have to book days or weeks in advance in order to secure a taxi at all. And then the drivers are usually overbooked as well, so there's delays. These companies know that they can provide a poor service to disabled customers because disabled customers don't have other options. There's no competition for this service because there's so few people providing it. So they know that they can dick us around and they know they can overbook their drivers. So this happens all the time. And the other thing that they know is that even when they provide disastrously terrible service, disabled people are time and energy poor and are unlikely to have the capacity to make a formal complaint. Anyway, another 15 minutes passes and we call them back again. It's now been 1 hour and 20 minutes. The lady that I speak to tries to tell me that the driver has reported that he already picked us up, and that's the point where I lose it. I say to her, that is completely untrue. We have not seen the driver. We have not spoken to the driver. We have rung and called to book this yesterday and were assured that the service would be provided. We have waited for an hour and a half for this taxi to arrive and it has not. We have called you at least 6 times and spoken to 3 different people, all of whom have tried to make excuses, yet continued to reassure me that this service would be available. And after I give her this big growling and tell her how disgusting, pathetic and unacceptable this lack of service is, she tries to make the excuse of, oh, well, we can make you another booking. And I'm like, no, I don't want another booking. Comes back to me with what she calls good news, which is that the driver has confirmed he will be able to collect us at 2:45 p.m. At that point, we'd been at the airport for 2 hours. I tell her, no thank you, cancel the booking, this service is unacceptable, and I hang up. Also at this point, I'm in a lot of pain. I've been up and about and sitting in my chair and haven't had any time to have any sort of rest at this point, and it's nearly 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And
we're now stranded, we don't have a plan. But we were able to pretty quickly realise that the bus was the next best option. So that's what we did in the end, but that was the experience with the taxi. And yeah, these companies know that they can shit on us like this as disabled people because we don't have any other option, and because we're time and energy poor and unlikely to be able to make a complaint. If they provided service to that level to able-bodied people, they wouldn't have a business. So it is purely because disabled people are disabled that they're just expected to put up with this kind of crap. That is why it is discrimination. It's discrimination because if that was how they treated their able-bodied customers, their business would die very quickly. It's not okay. I want to say I'm back. Well, good morning. It is Friday. Today is the quartet competition and our last day before we perform. We were up at 7 a.m, got ready, all of that, and we've already had a rehearsal for the front row here in our room. So yeah, dressed, gonna throw on a coat and my rain deck because it is raining again. So we'll head off to the town hall. All the choruses are invited to join in and learn a song together and learn some vocal techniques together, so that's where we headed now.
If you fix the intonation and the vowel placement first.
Actually, you fall in I want you to literally do this.
All along I believe I will find you. I love you for 1,000. All of my doubt suddenly goes away somehow. Time stands still, the beauty in all she is. I've died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more.
We'll have them rolling right in the alley. When I saw you, you were my employer. Hello, just got in. I'm having a rest. The quartet competition is in swing right now. I was there, I watched 4 quartets sing, but we had that rehearsal first thing this morning. We had the music in the morning session. We had trip to the cafe for lunch, trip back to the hall for quartets, and then an hour there we're seeing the singing, and I pooped, and well, I'm not quite defeated yet, but that's kind of the point of why I'm taking a rest now, because I can feel that if I stayed and watched the whole quartet comp, that it's gonna eat my head. I could feel that I was gonna run out of steam for our rehearsal tonight, and seeing as we are performing tomorrow and I am in the front row, it is much more important that I'm at our rehearsal tonight than watching quartet aren't even, none of them are even from our chorus. So you support them, but you don't have that personal investment. So yeah, I'm back at the hotel room by myself for the next few hours so that I can rest and pace myself. And then we'll have pizza for dinner here in the hotel room with a couple of other ladies, and then our rehearsal downstairs at 7 for 2 hours. And then it'll be straight up to bed to get as much sleep as possible before we get up in the morning and rehearse again. And then it's all go. We get dressed, we get made up, we get transported to the venue, and we sing. They've reshuffled the schedule, so now we're the first chorus after the break, so we're singing at 2 o'clock roughly, so we don't have to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, which we were gonna have to. But yeah, I need to pace myself is what I'm saying. This is what life with chronic pain and chronic fatigue is. It's just a constant budgeting session. Like your whole life just becomes budgeting your energy and budgeting your pain medication and budgeting your sleep and budgeting your caffeine and your food. Everything revolves around making sure that you don't completely crash unless it's worth it. It drives me insane. It seems so unfair that how I speak, but and you can hear that I'm tired because I get this raspy nature to my voice, and we don't want that at a singing competition. So I gotta save some energy. I'll see you soon.
Well, hello. This evening so I came back and I did rest. Then I had a shower and we had pizza with my two lovely chorus buddies, my chorus mums, I don't know. They're the two chorus members who are semi-formally responsible for helping me out at convention. We did it last year and it worked really well, and in exchange I do their makeup for the afterglow party. So yeah, we had pizza and I put some new makeup on, which I now have to take off to go to bed, but I actually really like how it came out. Kind of sad to take this off. So and we had a rehearsal that ran for 2 hours, including another workshop for the front row. I mean, it's just so much rehearsing. I mean, how many times can you show us going over and over and over the same stuff? So I figure it's not a big loss. Tomorrow will be the day where some more interesting things will be happening. Much better viewing content. But now it is bedtime. I'm about to take my night meds, including a double dose of sleeping meds because I need some sleep tonight. Tomorrow is the biggest day of them all, and we'll see how it turns. Good night. Well, hello. We've just had our 8 a.m. rehearsal. We had that time because we were supposed to be first up to perform, but it got changed, and I don't want to go across all that gravel and mud. Okay, I'm going this way. Yeah, we were supposed to be first on stage, but now we're like in the second bracket, like 8th on stage. So we didn't need a morning rehearsal, but none of the other choruses wanted to change their times. Wonder why. So heading back to the hotel now, and got makeup and costumes and food, and then that's it. I've got an hour to feed myself and do the start of my makeup, and then I gotta meet 2 lovely ladies downstairs to bring them up to our room to do their eyes, and then do my own eyes and my costume, and we're away. This is what I'm wearing. I actually really like this outfit, and I'm only in it for like 2 hours. Oh well, see you soon.
cake is all the autumn leaves.
Oh, thank you.
I've got an 8:30 shuttle booked. Me and Margaret, so as long as I make that. Yeah. But you said nice as well. My friend got married there.
Yeah.
Industries that have started New Zealand.
Hi there. It is Monday and we're flying home. We're flying home this afternoon and we're just finishing off packing all the bags up to check out the hotel. I realized that I didn't make an appearance at all yesterday. I have not told you how we did in the singing contest. And all that is to come. But for now, we are focusing on getting out of this hotel on time and being at the airport ready for our flight. So I'll be back. On my bed, and I am very eager now to have a nice long rest. But I will finish off dating on everything that went down. So where did I leave off? So we had ages to be ready. Did 3 lots of eye makeup on other people. Then I did my own eye makeup. We got costumes on. There was a very stressful moment when one of my earrings broke, but one of the few times that extra body piercings have come in handy, I was able to put the regular studs into the second hole on my ear rather than through my tunnels like I would usually do. And so yeah, crisis averted. We made it downstairs. We got all hyped up, made sure everything was perfect. We got on the bus. We went into the town hall rehearsal room where we could practice, to a rehearsal room where we couldn't practice, and then into the wings and on stage. We sang beautifully. We would have got our highest score ever. We would have been the most improved chorus, and we would have been at least 4th overall, if not 3rd. However, we were disqualified. Why were we disqualified? We were disqualified because in the midst of our song about loving jazz, we sang the word jazzbo. Now, none of us had ever heard that word before, including the 2 Americans in our chorus. We'd never heard that word before. We didn't know what it meant. We kind of just thought that it was the bow bit was an extra syllable added onto the end of the phrase to make it the lyrics all fit. That's what we thought. The song had been approved for competition by Sweet Adeline International. It had passed its national evaluation, confirming that yes, we could sing it. None of our coaches, none of the judges, none
of the organisers picked up on the fact that this word would be problematic, and we were completely blindsided to learn that it can be used as a racial slur. We had no idea whatsoever, and it's a little bit of a sting, because as soon as we learned that this was the reason that we had been disqualified, we of course rushed to Google to look up the definition of this word, and it has two meanings. So it can mean, and is most commonly used to refer to, a jazz musician or a particular style of jazz music. However, yes, it can also be used as a racial slur against a black person. For those of you who are more Southern Hemisphere, Australia, New Zealand, who are probably like me, hadn't heard it before, still a little bit confused, it'd be a bit like if an American group were disqualified for singing the word coconut, because of course coconut can be used as a racial slur, but on the whole, if you're singing about coconuts, you're not singing it in the context of being a racial slur. You're singing about the actual fruit of coconuts, and the beautiful places in which they grow. So yeah, we just really wish that we had known in advance, that someone somewhere had picked up on it, and we could have changed the word. We could have removed it and sung something else, or sung a different song altogether. We really did not know until we found out that it was the reason we had been disqualified. So that was a bit of a shitty end to a really good day. But to be honest, the day didn't stop there. And for me, it's never, ever, singing with Sweet Adeline, singing with the overtones has never been about being the best. It's never really been about even improving my skills. It's been about the experience of having this community around and having a common goal of getting to travel, getting to perform, getting to master a craft that you can't master alone. And so for me, like, I know there's very, very little standing in the way of me never being able to do this again. So I soak up the experience. That is all of what it is for me, at the experience. And so learning that we were disqualified didn't hit me as hard as it hit a lot of the other members of the chorus, particularly the directors. When they told us that we had been disqualified, you could hear their hearts breaking from across the room. It was brutal. And there were a lot of tears. We went back to the hotel, we had a drink to commiserate together, and that really helped. And then it was upstairs to get changed and head off to the afterglow and the dinner. The dinner was lovely, and I got to meet some Sweet Adelines I hadn't met before, and we got to see some old photographs commemorating the 40 years that Sweet Adeline's New Zealand has existed. That's what my t-shirt is commemorating. 1985 to 2025. Yeah, so. And we got back to the hotel just before midnight, and I fell into bed. I then slept until 3 p.m. the next afternoon, when I woke up, had a weak cup of coffee and a tiny bit to eat, and watched 2 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then fell asleep again. And I slept that time until 8:30 p.m, where I woke up, had my meds, had something to drink, had a little tiny bit more to eat, and then fell back asleep again and slept through until 7 a.m. this morning. We were able to pack up the hotel room and be checked out on time. We went down to a little cafe down in Riverside and had a coffee and something to eat before we went back, picked up our bags, jumped on the bus to the airport, and that was that. That was the week done and dusted, and that is where I'm at now. This convention is going to be heavily overshadowed by the fact that we were disqualified despite giving our best performance ever. And yeah, I think the main thing that I come back to is that because of my disabilities, I think I have a different perspective on life in general, and it means that blows like being disqualified from a singing competition, they pale in comparison to being able to travel, being able to spend quality time with my grandmother, who I am so close to and so comfortable with. I think that's, maybe that's embarrassing, but I don't really give a shit, because she's not going to be here forever, and I get to have a really special relationship with her, which is a privilege as far as I'm concerned. And I got to have an old friend come and see us perform, and we got to hang out and catch up, and that was freaking awesome. I got to go to a fancy dinner and a fancy party and get dressed up. I got to spend time with friends, learning and mastering a craft together, and all of those things way overshadow whatever score we got, or if we got a score at all. Like, I suppose when life's taken a lot from you, you learn to see things differently, or you don't survive. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, that one. Please like, subscribe. I'd love to see you here for the next one, and thank you for being here. Ka kite.
Thank you.